Hey there, guitar players. Today we're going to look at the pentatonic scale, which is kind of the basic building block for pretty much every rock and blues solo you've ever heard. Now there are exceptions, of course, there's always exceptions, but that's what makes it so much fun learning how to play. So, to give you a real quick background, the pentatonic scale means that there are 5 notes in the scale rather than what we usually think of as a 7-tone scale. There are just 5 in this that make it work better in some situations. Fewer wrong notes to play, so to speak. Okay. We're going to be looking at the pentatonic scale and we're going to be looking at it through the lens of it being in G minor. Now, we can also look at pentatonic scales in the lens of a major key, but we'll leave that for a different lesson. So this is where most people start, with a minor pentatonic scale. And we're going to be using G minor. So G minor, the chord sounds like this. That just kind of sets that tonic in your head. Tonic meaning the original note or the key. Now, I'll just play real quickly for you the pentatonic scale, because you probably have seen it elsewhere. But if not, again, it's 5 notes until it starts to repeat. So let's start with G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it begins again an octave higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it begins again another 2 octaves higher. And that's as far as we're going to go with this particular scale. The position that I'm using is usually known as the first position, or position 1, of the pentatonic scale, of the minor pentatonic scale. And just to make sure that you don't think that this is the one and only scale, this pentatonic minor scale can be used in any key on the guitar. So you have, 11 potential other keys to play in. Right now, we're talking about G minor. You could also play it in G sharp minor or A flat minor. And I would really encourage you that once you are familiar with the scale in G minor, if that's where you choose to start, that you then start moving that around the neck of the guitar so that you're not stuck in that one position. So let's say you do several weeks in G minor and you decide, okay, I want to go to C minor, I want to go to A minor. Please go ahead and do that. The other thing that I want you to know is that the fingering positioning that we're using for this, again, is called position 1. Generally, people call it position 1. And that's because that's where most people start. And it's the most comfortable position to play. And it also matches up nicely where with a G minor bar chord in the coming from the E bar chord position. So again, there's a G minor chord. And the G minor pentatonic scale, and I'll put it, let's see, down here as tab, and maybe over here as a fretboard diagram, sort of, whichever way makes more sense for you. Okay, so here's the G minor chord, and here's how that pentatonic scale, minor pentatonic scale, position 1, goes. that's ascending the scale. We're going from the bottom of the scale to the top of the scale. Let's descend and go from the top to the bottom. Now, if you're a practicing student, I really encourage you to use a metronome. That's going to keep you honest as far as your time, because some notes are easier to play than others, but we want you to play them all perfectly evenly, as perfectly as you can. Okay, so we're going to get out our portable Ringo here. Yeah, maybe that's just a bit fast. Yeah, I think Ringo had a little too much caffeine this morning. Okay, so let's play that scale again. Yeah, right about that speed. We're going to follow the metronome, okay? Okay, we're going to descend now. Did you notice how I paid very close attention to the metronome? Believe me, in your guitar practice, that the metronome's going to be your best friend and your worst enemy. You are going to get bloody sick of listening to it. But it's going to keep you honest. It's going to make you internalize, be able to internalize an external rhythm or tempo, beat. So, again, let me go through that once more with our auto Ringo here. Now I'm going to descend. Okay, so far so good. And once you get that down and very comfortable, then you're going to want to try to shake things up a bit, because we don't like to get too comfortable. We always want to be able to challenge ourselves, give ourselves the next big hurdle to go over. You may have noticed that I'm using all downstrokes with my right hand. In other words, the pick is always heading down whenever I'm hitting a string. Now, to be able to build up a little more speed and a little more consistent sound, so to speak, we're going to try and take that next step by doing every other pick upwards. Okay, so let me demonstrate real quickly without auto Ringo here. See how I consistently went down, up, down, up, down, up. That's going to be a way to develop consistency and speed. Let's go descend that scale using that same technique. Okay, so that alternate picking, up and down picking, is your next big step in terms of developing a little bit more speed on this minor pentatonic scale. Okay, the next thing that we want to look at is to start mixing things up a little bit, so that we're not just ascending the scale straight up and descending the scale straight down. So here's where we come to something that a lot of people call a group of three. At least that's what I call it. The concept behind doing a group of three is that you begin with the lowest 3 notes of the scale. And then you go back down 1, but ascend 3 more notes. So you start then from the 2nd note of the scale, go up 3. Then you start from the 3rd note of the scale, go up 3. Start from the 4th note of the scale, go up 3. Trust me, as I explain it, it sounds a lot more complicated than when you hear it. So I'm going to play the example. Okay, now let's do that same pattern descending the scale, okay? Whoops, a little bit of a muff there, huh? Happens to the best, and it also happens to me. The next thing that I would like to have you work on, I was playing them in groups of 3 and then putting a gap in there. So I was going bum, 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 gap, dum, bum, bum, gap, dum, bum, bum, gap, dum, bum, bum. What we want to do is to eliminate that gap once you've got that pattern established in your head and comfortable under your fingers. So now it's going to sound more like this. That's ascending. Let's descend now. Starts to sound just a little bit more like music and less like an exercise. That's, we're always pushing to make music rather than doing exercises, but exercises are a way to get there. So, okay. Now you may guess what I'd like you to do next, and that is to start using that alternating picking again with this group of 3. Okay, so let's try that. Let's descend. Okay, so that's ascending and descending the minor pentatonic scale in G in the first position. Okay, had enough? No? You want more? Sure you do. Okay, the next thing that I like to encourage my students to practice is then a group of 4. We did a group of 3. We're going to do a group of 4 now. Okay, so the group of 4 begins with the first note, goes up 4, goes back to the 2nd note of the scale, goes up 4, goes back to the 3rd note of the scale, goes up 4, etc., etc., etc. Descending is exactly opposite of that. You start with the top note of the scale, go down 4, then the 2nd highest note of the scale, go down 4, third highest note of the scale, go down 4. So again, my explanation sounds very wordy, but when you hear the pattern, it'll probably make a little more sense to you. So here we go. We're going to do a group of 4. We're going to go ahead and reverse that, or descend the scale, excuse me. Let's go ahead and do that with our pseudo Ringo, and we're going to speed it up a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to add in the alternate picking in addition. Okay, let's give it a go. Let's go back down the scale, descend it. Made a mistake at the end there. Did you hear that? I think I'll leave that in just to show that, you know, I'm not perfect. Yeah, right. There you go. Okay, Ringo, take a break. Okay. So, these are pretty much the building blocks that I like to give my students to begin working on that pentatonic scale and to get it very, very familiar. After this is all very comfortable and your fingers just know exactly where to go, then, you know, some of the other concepts that we use are bends, vibrato. We also can do some things called hammer-ons. Pull-offs. And double stops. Some of them sound better than others. You'll recognize that one. Chuck Berry loved that one. So when you start putting all of those together, you know, having that really comfort level with your pentatonic scale is really going to help you. So let's go ahead and close out with a little bit of example here. Have fun practicing.